I thought they were going to take me off with that motorcycle, which might be a good thing based on all the lights here. I'm Ruth Willenborg. You can probably tell from my accent that I am not a French speaker. I am not from Africa. I'm actually from Raleigh, North Carolina. It's my first trip to Morocco, and I am really, really excited to be here. Thank you. You guys are living in just an absolutely incredible time in our industry because the opportunities for innovation are just unprecedented. As cloud and big data and mobile come together, what you can get to through the cloud to just innovate and innovate at such a speed is just mind-boggling to me because I've actually been in this industry for 30 years and I've just never seen anything like the rate and pace of transformation that's going on now. So besides being, in the IT industry for about 30 years, I'm also a mom, and I have a 10-year-old. And it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. We're driving somewhere, my son's in the back seat, and he just, and we're not really talking about anything, and he just out of the blue says, "Mom, how come cars can't drive themselves?" And we kind of hesitate, and then, having been in technology as long as I've been in technology, start to explain to him all the reasons why a car cannot drive itself. And you explain how hard it is and all of the idiosyncrasies and everything and why cars can't drive themselves. And he's in the back seat, and he's trying to explain to us all the reasons why a car should be able to drive itself. And so you can kind of juxtapose the 5-year-old and I won't tell you how old, but we weren't quite 50 at that point year olds. He's looking at opportunity. And there's a statistics that I recently saw that talk about 95% of 5-year-olds are creative. By 40, that's dropped down to about 5%. Now, I have to say I'm glad that some of that 5% is actually out there working on those self-driving cars, because a few years after we had that conversation, you start to hear what's actually going on. And I'm counting on it because instead of having to take my car keys away from me in a few years when I'm too old to drive, my son can buy me one of those self-driving cars, because I'm sure that's going to be reality. So what I really see these days is because there is so much opportunity to innovate, there's just no reason anymore to lose that creativity. So we're going to talk about some of these incredible opportunities today with Watson technology, with the Internet of Things, and with cloud, which brings it together as the platform for innovation. When I'm done, I really have one request to you guys. And that is that you never lose your innovation. You continue that creativity. And I'd like you to learn more about the capabilities that we as IBM bring to you, particularly through our cloud platform, which we call Bluemix. So you'll hear me talk about Bluemix today. So while you're here at the conference, take the time, sign up for Bluemix, get on hands-on yourself, go visit us at the demo booth. So that's my ask, and we're going to go through and we're going to talk about what IBM is doing. Innovation is the new currency. The capabilities that you have, two guys in a Starbucks, or really a coffee shop anywhere in the world, right, can have access to the same computing power as a Fortune 500 company. This is what cloud brings to you, is that incredible power that's just there. And this is something that I couldn't even have dreamed of, because I've been here for 30 years in this industry. So I started out, what the part that's falling off of the side, I will admit, I started out with mainframes, relational databases. Those things are still around, the heart of business, but that's all we had. Then we moved through into the web era. And so I know I've got a lot of Java guys here. So I can tell you guys that I started on WebSphere before we had the name WebSphere. So I go way back in Java. I actually did all the early work in performance of websites and scalability. I usually think of as things getting bigger, not scaling down. So we did a lot of that early work on how do you scale Java on the internet for doing real business. And that's one of the things that you'll find at the heart of IBM is taking these great technologies but applying them to do business problems, right, to solve real problems. From that sort of web sphere internet, we started moving into virtualization and cloud. And now we start to really see, cloud, mobile, big data all coming together. So that's kind of my 30 years, but it's only a subset of the IBM company's journey and the number of transformations that IBM really leads the industry through. Because IBM is over 100 years old now. So we started with the tabulating machines, then of course the mainframe, the first PCs, then in through the business era. A few things though at the right-hand side of the slide that I think when we did them have had such profound effect on what's going on now that I want to point them out. 2001, you see the penguin. This was when IBM made its major backing of Linux. Something that I know at the time I didn't really appreciate. But this is when IBM really embraced open source. So we put our money, our time, our commitment, all our products behind Linux. This is something that we're doing across the board, and it's really fundamental to our cloud strategy. So we have major investments in OpenStack, in Cloud Foundry, in Docker, and we've just made major commitments to Node.js. So that embracing of open source and its effect on our company, its effect on the industry, we've started that very early in 2000 when we got behind Linux. Another one, you guys probably seen the ads a number of years back about Smarter Planet. And those were sort of corporate ads. And that was all about, how do we make cities smarter? How do we make railroads smarter? How do we make the engines and planes smarter? That was really, to me, the start of instrumenting everything. The Internet of Things, right? How do we get everything that's out there smart so we can start really improving things, the beginning Internet of Things. Then the last one on this chart was Watson. I don't know if Jeopardy is something you grow up with, but Jeopardy is a major game show in the United States. And it's kind of it's the intellectual game show, right? Here are the categories, and you have the questions and answers. So the people who go on Jeopardy those are your really smart facts people who just know an incredible amount of stuff. But it's all human language interaction. So for a number of years, IBM Research was working on how can we make a computer that can actually participate in Jeopardy. Because to do that, you have to understand and read natural language. It's not a programming thing like the programmable machines we have today. So in 2011, when Watson, not only did it win Jeopardy, but it beat the world's best Jeopardy champions. Watson sort of put itself on the mark that, hey, things are possible. And what we'll talk about more today is now that, once we did that, now how do you actually apply that to actual businesses, right? And that's what we're doing as we're bringing Watson to you guys. So I could talk for quite a while about this, but I thought I'd just play a couple of minutes from Ginny Rometty on our IBM Transformation. So I'm going to cut her off after about 2 minutes. But I want you to hear from Ginny, our CEO, and we talked a little bit about women, so I'd like you to hear from the woman CEO of IBM, Ginny Rometty.
What is today's IBM? You have been CEO since 2012. How is it different from when you joined?
Well, IBM today is a solutions company, but IBM has been a solutions company. The change is the kinds of problems that we solve. I mean, that is at the heart of what this company is about progressing to the future and helping our clients go to the future. And our clients are impacted by all of the trends you see around you and the macroeconomic environment. So today we are a stronger and better solutions company. This is an industry that violently reinvents itself, commoditizes in some cases, reinvents over time, over and over. And what I say to that is, I say, just look, IBM is the only company that has actually transcended every era, one after another, and transformed through it, every one, and we are doing it again right now. There are 3 of these technological shifts going on at the same time right now, typically 1, 3, that's what makes it intense. Whether it be big data, cloud, the whole world of mobility, what I call engagement, it isn't just knowing those technologies and doing some pinpoint thing. For IBM, it's about doing much more. So big data analytics, a big bet we placed, it's about transforming industries and professions, like healthcare. When it comes to cloud, it's about remaking enterprise IT for the era of cloud. And when it comes to this world of engagement, it is about reimagining work. That's our role, and that's what we're doing. Cloud, anything as a service. Maybe that's kind of my simple definition, right? A process or technology as a service. Well, the part we moved really early on was when people put clouds on their own premise, so to speak, or for their own, what people call private. Early, fast growing, very well. We kept watching on the public cloud to understand, because it really manifested itself first in the consumer world. What would it mean to a company? And once we really understood that could be a viable business for an enterprise, for us and our customers, now you see us moving fast on it. We announced a brand new Watson unit. And so Watson, the beginning of a new era of computing, systems that not only understand natural language, but they learn, they get smarter, and they get smarter. It is the best and undisputed leader in this area to this point. What IBM's about, it's not just the technology, and I think that's a mistake. And when I say we're a solutions company, it's because it's technology for a purpose and for a means. So when I think of big data and analytics, I think our role in this world is to transform industries and transform professions. That is a way bigger, more important goal.
Do you think
Okay, so as Ginny mentioned, we're really moving into a new era, and that's an era of cognitive. And that is an era that Watson is really ushering in. You'll see different sort of pictures of era charts. Some will separate out this programmable systems era and actually call out the mainframe, the PC, and the web. But everybody is really coming together, that we are into a new era. And that era is being driven by data, and it's going to be shaped by cognitive processing. Now, what's going on in data? I mean, the data is just growing out of control. And this is across your healthcare, your government, utilities, media. Every place out there is just producing and producing more data. 90% of the data out there has been created in the last 5 years. But the interesting stat on here to me is that 80% of this data is unstructured data. So it's not the kind of data that our applications and our programs are actually used to dealing with. This is really where Watson comes in. So Watson is different. Watson is actually a computer, of course, but he is a learning, understanding, reasoning technology, right? So you teach Watson things. So we teach Watson about industries. And as he learns more, he can start to give even better answers, right? Because he's taking in all of this unstructured data, he's processing it, and then he's reasoning, what does this mean? And he builds up confidence factors in the answers and things that he can provide based on all of the data that comes into him. So this is a very, very different model from what we've usually had. He's much more like a human brain, right? This is how we all think, right? We observe things, we start to interpret them, we evaluate them, we make decisions. And we do that based on how much we know. And so what we now have is that kind of human logic, but it's in a computer, right? So what can computers do that we can't do? Well, they can scale, right? So we can teach him all of the different industries that are out there, and we can make him available to you. That is what is so fundamental now that was not there 6 months ago, guys. The Watson APIs are available to you to program to. So we've already got about 70,000 developers in the Watson ecosystem, and 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whenever you get your next break, I can add you guys to that list because all of these APIs are through the cloud. The types of things that Watson's starting to be applied to are not, we started in healthcare, right? I mean, that was an obvious place for Watson knowledge. But he's being used now for a lot of sort of personal advisors because you can teach him things and he can interact much more human to advise people. But I think my favorite example right now of Watson is from the education industry. It's a talking dinosaur. Now, I know when I grew up, we had these toys and you pulled a string, right, and then they would talk. This dinosaur is way beyond that because this dinosaur is actually asking and answering questions and interacting with the child. But he's got not only the natural language technologies of Watson built in and the question and answer, but he's got personality insights. So he is actually adapting himself to the actual child and interacting with the child. So this is the kind of thing that you see with Watson technologies and some of the personality insights is you can start adapting your own applications to the person you're dealing with. So this is fundamentally new kinds of technologies. And as I mentioned, these are now all available to you guys. This just boggles my mind, right? What you have now at your fingertips. There's 28 APIs that are all available through the cloud. So all of the question and answer kinds of capabilities, but capabilities for the personality insights, capabilities for trade-offs. So being able to actually write applications that make decisions like we do when weighing different factors. What do we want to do? How do I want to decide this? Well, let Watson do that for you programmatically. So all these Watson services at your fingertips. And you're going to need them because data is growing out of control. And one of the biggest sources of this data is all of these things, right? Things that have been instrumented. Statistics are now, going from 10 billion devices up to 1 trillion. So when we talk about Internet of Things, we are in the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of impact. And these devices are just producing data. And data by itself is not interesting, right? In fact, how many people can keep up with their Twitter? I can't. I mean, it's just junk. I probably shouldn't say that, but data is just overwhelming. What really has to happen, right, in order to make the Internet of Things effective is we have to be able to deal with the data. We have to have those analytics capabilities. So technologies like Watson, advanced analytics are what's going to make a difference in whether we can successfully, kind of use this Internet of Things, right? What is happening? What's going to happen? Can we predict things? Why did it happen? What should I do? So this is the type of thing as you're building these applications out for Internet of Things, is not just getting that data from your things, but applying the analytics and the decision processing in your application so that you can actually do something with it. So this is part of what we also have with our cloud technologies, right? We have the Internet of Things Foundation. So making it very easy for you to connect your devices. The protocol we have, MQTT, to connect and get your data up into the cloud, and then you write your applications on the cloud. You include your analytics there. I'm going to deviate from what I was asked to do, and I got to put a little plug in for a specific piece of technology because you guys are developers. If you haven't already tried a technology called Node-RED, I definitely encourage you to take a look at it. It is open source, but it's been developed by some IBM programmers, and I absolutely love it. It is a flow editor. It's built on Node.js, but its really initial design was for Internet of Things to help you easily, bring in data, but it will help you connect out to Watson, put your data in databases. Very, very easy. So I definitely recommend, when you go to our booth or you get out there, take a look at the Node-RED technology and the Internet of Things Foundation. So I'm going to play one more video for you. I like this one in particular because this is an industry that honestly is not one that I normally dealt with in IBM. Normally I'm dealing with banks and insurance companies and all those kinds of things. This is a motorboat that is instrumented, so it's a great example of the Internet of Things and Bluemix. So let's play this one.
When you're racing on the ocean, it's a very rugged environment, probably the most rugged on the planet. We're hitting up to 8 Gs. If I can get any assistance from the outside, it's going to be a huge value, not just to make the boat go faster, but safety.
It's the 34th annual World Championship offshore.
I've had a split kind of career. My company Dataskill, which has been an analytics company for many years, and the racing company, Silverhook. We build powerboats, we race them.
Look at that, wow.
So now the two have come together. A big change came about 4 years ago when IBM really took intelligence and analytics into a new realm, fundamentally using the unstructured data. Prior to that, you got only a fraction of the whole truth. When you start to look at the unstructured data, which can be in many forms, right, you can now get a 100% accurate view of what's happening with analytics and predicting what could be happening, and a chance to optimize that. The immediate value is to use the analytics so that we have virtually all the experts we need to give us the advice we need in the cockpit while racing, because they're now seeing the data, they're seeing what I'm seeing during the course of a race in real time, and they can give me advice on how to change aspects of the racing so that we have a better chance of winning. When decisions are being made in business, sometimes they have to be made in rapid time with multiple sources of data. The virtual reality would be a way to really immerse a business decision maker into the world of what their decision will mean. We're doing this for a tumor board, a cancer tumor board, because they have data from all different places. They've got clinical records, they've got treatments. What we can do is distill that down to the lowest common denominator and then show over a period of time how that disease has progressed. Bluemix has really been the enabler bringing these analytics, which wouldn't have happened in the regular traditional technology space. In the past, to design the application, the database structures, there's a lot of people involved in doing this. So having a cloud environment to be able to do that is a game changer. I can't tell you how many times there's been something go wrong. We had a fuel pressure problem, and it was caused by a regulator, which was dropping the fuel pressure. As the boost would go up on the superchargers, if the fuel pressure doesn't go up with it, you're going to detonate the engine and it'll blow up. Through these analytics, we are now able to detect this anomaly. And so being able to have some visibility into potential problems to be able to anticipate those has really enabled a fantastic track record for our team, the 77 Lucas Oil. The last 24 months we've been using this. So that's really been a game changer both for Dataskill and Silverhook. The data's out there. It's what you do with it from there.
Okay, so the reason I really like that example is it does bring together all the pieces we've been talking about, right? You've got the data that's down on the boat. The data is being fed up into the Internet of Things Foundation. You've got your application. In this case, it's running in Bluemix. It's actually a Java application. It's using the database services. It's using predictive modeling for analytics. And then it's sending back information to actually make changes, right, and having an impact on the race. So that's when we talk about, sort of classic Internet of Things. It's all about getting that data, but actually then having an application, getting some analytics run on it, and then actually making an effect. And this is what cloud and the cloud platform is enabling you to do. So a little bit on what's actually in Bluemix. First of all of the runtimes. So for you Java guys, from the community is a Java community build pack that's Tomcat based, but we also have our Java Liberty capabilities. We've also just announced WebSphere in the cloud capabilities with the ND capabilities, and then all the other languages. Yes, those other languages. But Node.js and Ruby and Python and Go, they're all out there. So whatever language you want, you can access it through the exact same interface and mix and match, use whatever you need to use. The catalog, and this is the heart of things. These are all of the services, the Watson services, the database services, the analytics services. We are built on Cloud Foundry, so it's the, yes. But we've also sort of branched beyond traditional paths. We've added in Docker container support, so through Bluemix you can get your Docker containers. We've actually also opened up so you can get your virtual machines. Those are OpenStack virtual machines, all through the same UI. So what we find is, yeah, the paths part is interesting, right? But honestly, it comes down to these services, right? So we've got out there all of the services that come from the Cloud Foundry community. We've got third-party services. We've got all of the IBM services. What I really kind of hadn't fully appreciated when we started Bluemix is, the IBM company is huge. We have just an incredible amount of software capabilities. And what we've done as a company is made all those capabilities available to you now through the web. So the ease of getting to this capability, the consistency of getting to the capability, the need to no longer install things to get to these capabilities is just unprecedented. So this just applies across all the industries. So you've got complete access to all these services. The next thing that we've done with Bluemix is to expand out the deployment models and where you can get it. So we started out with a public offering of Bluemix, and that's still our flagship as far as that's where all of these services are available. We are the world's largest Cloud Foundry deployment. So I'm sure there's some of you guys in the room that like to do things like install Cloud Foundry. Me personally, most people, it's not a fun experience to actually install the open source products yourself. So, we've got public Cloud Foundry. We got poor souls back at IBM that have to deal with installing it and getting all the upgrades and maintaining it and managing it and scaling it and all that stuff. You guys can just reap the benefits, right? Sign up for Bluemix and reap the benefits. But public cloud is not the answer for every application. So we have been now really starting to address what the customers that are running businesses also need. So we have a dedicated Bluemix, which is a single tenant that we can set up in any of our 26 data centers worldwide. So when people need their data to stay locally, things like that, we have dedicated Bluemix. And we've just announced local Bluemix, which is a single tenant on-premise installation of Bluemix. So we're starting to really see those hybrid deployments. The nice thing with Bluemix is it's all consistent though, right? Because it's the same UI, the same administration. whether you're doing public, dedicated, local, or some mix of these things. At the heart of IBM Cloud is our open by design, right? So this is the same capabilities across private, hybrid, on-premise, but at our infrastructure level, OpenStack, Open Daylight, Open Power. At the PaaS level, all based on Cloud Foundry, Docker, our commitment to Node.js, underlying Cloudant, which is our sort of flagship NoSQL database, is CouchDB. Hadoop is there, but we are really focused on keeping our technologies open. That is a fundamental part of what we're doing with our IBM Cloud. So guys, the ideas are going to come from you, but you have the opportunity now. We have the APIs, the services. You guys can prototype, you can iterate, you can innovate at such a rapid speed. I'm so excited. In a lot of ways, I wish I was, as young as almost all of you guys are, and I was where you are in your careers, because this is just an incredible opportunity. So I encourage you to get started. We're here from an IBM perspective to provide you these capabilities. I have the URL up here, ibm.biz Bluemix Morocco is where you can sign up for your free 30 days. And you can just go ahead and get access to all these services that I've talked about. So encourage you, get started working with Watson, with Internet of Things technologies, with big data, cloud, whatever you want to do for your innovation journey. Never stop innovating. I sincerely thank you for having me here today, and I wish you guys all the best in your development careers.